Shearing day 2022 started out really pretty day. We had a dusting of snow. It was a little bit cool, but it was very sunny and just a light breeze. So really perfect conditions for having the sheep get all their wool taken off so they wouldn't get too cold. We did have Aaron, our shearer, coming out this year, and he had us second on his schedule. So I was up around 8 o'clock getting ready for him to arrive at approximately 10:30. So the morning preparations of shearing day, it's bringing out all the stuff for doing documentation, cameras, paperwork, note cards.
Yeah.
I set up this little table here, and my helper, she'll take out the clear plastic bags, and those are important so you can see the note card. A little spreadsheet with all the sheep that we're going to be tending today. I actually made two versions, I had two helpers, so I thought one of them was like a copy. But it just lists out all the sheep, and that's where she notes anything that we talk about when we talk about each of the sheep, checks off that they were sheared, makes any other records that are needed. So we have to make sure we have note cards and a Sharpie. These are the ram lambs. So they were in this pen overnight. The ram lambs have separate living quarters from the adult rams. So they're ready to go in their little pen. And these are the adult rams. So there's 4 of them, big boys, and they are ready to get sheared. You can see a couple of them are at the rise and have lost quite a bit of their wool, so I'm going to be reviewing those later on in the video. We don't coat our rams, so the rams' fleeces are going to be pretty dirty. All of the ewes, the lambs, the bred ewes, the unbred ewes, the retired ewe, 21 of them will be rued by me, and 31 of them are going to get sheared today. So I need to separate them so that only the shearing ewes are going to be in the center. And we do coat our ewes so their fleeces are just lovely and clean. So here's me dragging in my stand, because first thing we have to do before Aaron gets there is rue those 2 rams, John Snow and Frederick. So here Chris and I are getting 1 ram out. You got to move really quick, and those sheep will get out if you're not too careful. So I made sure the doors were closed and all the gates were locked and everything. We didn't have any sheep get out because we're always very careful. So here's John Snow, and we're going to work to get him up on the stand. His fleece will be going into the comb top pool. Now I don't rue him before shearing day, and the reason is if you change the appearance of a ram and then put him back in with the group of rams that he lives with, they're going to view him as a different animal, a stranger, a threat, and he will get attacked. And because there's 3 other rams, it's just really, it's just not safe. So what I decided to do was to rue the 2 rams the morning of shearing, so that at the end of the day, they all have lost their fleeces. And so that way there's no risk of them getting hurt, and it works out perfectly fine. So here we are, ruining that fiber off him. The big break in his fleece. It's a shame we lost so much of his wool, but glad to be getting what we're getting.
So our farm is only Shetland sheep. We don't have any other animals. And we've been breeding Shetlands for 20 years. And we started with the fine fleece Shetland about 11 years ago, where we were breeding for very fine, crimpy wool. The Shetland breed, Shetlands are from the Shetland Islands. They're a British breed. They have the interesting trait that they have different colors. They have 11 different colors you can get. And then they also have patterns, and then they also have spotting configurations. So you can get a lot of different appearances with Shetlands, which makes it really fun. They're very small in size. The ewes max out at about 90 pounds, rams about 110. Ours are smaller than that. They can lamb their first year, but we don't breed lambs. So we'll breed yearlings Typically you'll have singles or twins, not usually triplets if you're a breeder. Shetlands will live just like most normal sheep, 12 to 17 years is their lifespan. This is Harry. All of this wool, all this section of his body, the wool fell off in the pasture, so it's fiber that we lost. And we're just ruining what's left. And it's a little bit harder to come off, isn't it? Than some of the other stuff. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It is gorgeous.
And so is this his first time?
Is this his? I think I sheared him last year.
Okay.
He's 2, so this is his second fleece. His first fleece, was part of the white comb top order I did last year. But again, like I said, all of this, and on the other side, and of course that's the nicest, nicest wool. But we're getting a good amount here. It's not.
Did he shear last year, or did he?
I think he did. I think we sheared. I think the only ram I rued last year was Jon Snow.
Alrighty.
So this is the stuff that I just rued off of him. And he's got quite a bit of growth for his next year's fleece here. So if he were sheared, all of this growth would have been sheared off and we would have lost all that wool, and that would have been loose, right? So that would have been under the brake. So if you were a processor, right, you would end up with a lot of neps and noils and stuff. So that's another advantage of ruing the sheep over shearing. Does that make sense? So the reason that we got 2 colors here is this is the stuff that already fell off. He actually was acting like a primitive wild sheep where his fiber just fell off and all he had was this blanket on the top and the fiber covering his breech. Breech is the hindquarters. When I say breech, that's what I mean. And normally the breech wool is going to be coarser. Now of course on Harry, whose spinning fineness is under 20, his breech wool is even really nice and soft and pretty crimpy. So,
Like, I have not rued that at all, and you can see where this is just hanging on him, the old stuff and the new. So it hasn't even been rued. This is all stuff that fell out probably in the pasture.
this is what I'm talking about when I say when you shear a sheep and put them in with the rest of the flock, the sheep just are mystified by this new animal that has been introduced to their flock. So they're smelling him, they're checking him, testing him out. This is just flock behavior, very normal. But very soon they all will be sheared, and that kind of nets it out to 0, and everybody's just...
So far I've got 3 bags of ram fleeces, and we're going to watch this pile of wool grow throughout the day.
Okay, so it's about 10 minutes before the shearer is scheduled to be here, and I have one last job I want to do, which is I want to separate out all of the ewes that are going to be sheared today from the ewes that I either have already rued or I'm planning on ruing. So Sif, for example, is half rued right now. I left her coat on just for protection and stuff, but yeah, on this side I've already rued her. So the ewes that are going to get sheared are going to come over into this section. And that's just because it's easier for Andrew, my helper, to grab them and send them through to shearing. He doesn't know which ones I'm ruing or shearing, so I separate them out for that purpose. One thing you will notice is we are just starting lambing. Actually, Wednesday is the first day we could potentially lamb. So some of the ewes you're going to see are nicely bagged up, which means that their udders are getting larger, getting ready for having their lambs. And after they're sheared, we're going to see large bellies, which is fine. So we're gonna do that now, get that ready.
So here now the ewes are all sorted, and all Andrew has to do when he is pulling ewes for the shearer is just grab ones that have coats on them from the center. He doesn't have to know which ones are being rued or not. And then all the ones I'm gonna rue or have rued are over on the other side there where the fan's going. And here he is. Aaron is our shearer. He just got here. He got here around 10:30. He did have one farm he was going to shear before ours. And he's just here getting all the stuff unloaded and set up. While Aaron is shearing our sheep, there's a lot of other activity that goes on in the background. So Rich is watching Andrew. Andrew's going to be selecting a sheep out of that pool and bringing it over into this area to get her staged to shear. Aaron's now just taking off the belly wool that goes into the compost bag. So the helper here, Chris, she's in charge of getting the wool off of the little piece of plywood there. I think she decided she was going to keep that piece of belly wool. But yeah, so those bags will just be full of belly wool, which is really dirty. So here's Rich grabbing out, it looks like Koki. Are you Koki? Now Andrew will have already taken off the back straps of the coat, so all Rich has to do is take the rest of the coat off. Now Chris is going to be scooping up the sheared fleece once Erin has completed shearing. And she'll be putting that in a clear plastic bag that Hannah, my other helper, has prepped with the note card. It has the name of the sheep, the year of shearing, and the ear tag number. So there's Luciana's beautiful face. She's getting ready. Making lots of notes because we are doing shots today as well on some of the ewes. It's easy to do shots after they're sheared, not instead of trying to get through all the wool. So some of the markings on this spreadsheet, just working on Bianca's, some of the markings on the spreadsheet indicate whether or not they've had their CDT or if they need it. So a lot of stuff going on. So here's Rich measuring out this CDT for one of the ewes. They don't all need it. A lot of the bred ewes we've already done the CDT. Maybe in the background, grabbing some sheep. So let's just sit back and enjoy watching Aaron as he removes the wool from this ewe in a manner that keeps the fleece all in one piece with very little second cuts, so it's in perfect shape for us hand spinners to enjoy. Alexander hits that kill switch. Chris scoops up the fleece, and then in this time Hannah grabs the sheared ewe and puts her in the pool pen with all the other ewes. And it's interesting to watch. This is Fanny here in the center that just got sheared. You can see all the other ewes are just fascinated by this new ewe that's joined their flock and trying to smell her and kind of mauling her a little bit. The rams are a lot more violent with this reintroduction. The ewes, it's pretty much just, interesting. Nice to know you. There's the pile of used dirty coats that have to go to the laundromat. It's always very rewarding to take a few minutes to look at the beautiful fleeces our ewes produce. After shearing is done, it's time to feed the sheep. We don't feed them before shearing that morning. It's better for them. They're more comfortable to be sheared on an empty stomach. So here I am. I've got all the ewes on the other side so that I can spread the hay out without them interfering. is a method to how I place the flakes of hay down. I like to hit the corners. I try to avoid putting the hay down in front of doors, although I did right there. Definitely not in front of the gates, because then you can't open and close the gate if you need to get in there while they're eating. I always put a little bit under that stairway there, because I've got littler sheep and that's where they like to go to eat. So now all that's left to do is we have to take all the sheared fleeces up into the garage. I store them in the garage until I get them sorted out, figured out what I'm going to do with them. And boy, this job goes a lot faster when you've got help. And my garage is already loaded with stuff. Please don't judge me. There's a lot of stuff in there that comes out in the summer. And so they'll all get stored in there in a massive pile until it's time for me to go through them all, get them skirted and up for the auction. And here they are. Lovely girls, and I'm so grateful to them for the beautiful fiber they provide us. You got your baby.
Hi there, welcome to this week's episode of The Good of Work. My name is Jen Johnson. I'm with Whispering Pines Farm, and my husband and I raise this gorgeous flock of Shetland sheep, and we raise them for their wool. And this week we had started lambing. So this video is going to be all about the lambs this week that we had. So I got video footage of them when they were less than a day old, of each of them. And I hope you enjoy it. If you're a returning viewer or a subscriber, I just want to say thank you so much for all your support. I really appreciate you. And if you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. It's a great time of the year to be here at the farm. I'm here with Mabel. This is my ewe Mabel. She's very sweet, really even-tempered. And this is her little lamb. I think you had her yesterday, right? And it's a beautiful day today, nice and sunny. It's in the 70s. But you saw my shearing video, we had snow, so 1 week to the next you can get a lot of different weather here. So Mabel's a little uncomfortable with me holding her lamb. I'm gonna give her back. And like I said, I tried to keep the video real simple. I'm gonna just give you footage of each of the lambs and their mothers, show them how they're doing. And you'll notice too, some of the ewes are gonna have this crazy situation where they don't have any wool on their bodies, and then they'll have these manes, and they'll have like wool, like a poodle trim or something. And really what's happened here is I rued the wool that was under their coat, because she had a coat on here. I rued that off, plucked it off, and what's left is the neck wool, which is really dirty, belly wool that is like out underneath the coat, and the breech. So I'll rue that stuff off here in the next week or so, get that into the comb top pile, and then I'll be done with my wool harvest for the year. So I just wanted to explain to you, if you see that, that's what that's all about. Okay, you ready for the video, sweet thing? Ready for your close-up? All right, I hope you enjoyed this video.